am back from the dead. Yay! I am back on this channel and I had to take a little bit of a break for, I think it turned out to be a month or something like that. I am not sure, but I just had to take this break. Those of you who watched my videos that I uploaded most recently know that I got a new job and I just had to find a routine for myself that worked so that I am not tired at the end of the day and that I can still draw. And then I also had to find a way to fit YouTube in all of that, and it was just too much. I was so overwhelmed. So I decided to take a step back and just take a break from YouTube to find a routine that works for me. And I did, so I am back. I also got a new mic, as you can maybe tell. My birthday was a week ago, so I decided to get myself something very nice and simple, and I decided to buy myself a new mic for YouTube so that I'm a little bit more flexible when it comes to recording and I don't have to sit at my desk and talk like this into a mic that is standing on my desk. So upgrade, yay! Also, another change is that I will go back to uploading on Sundays. I did that in the beginning of this channel, but then I switched to Mondays because that was a little bit more comfortable for me, but I decided to switch it up again. My plan for this video is to just take you with me throughout this whole week, or a couple of days of this week actually, and I'm very excited to do that. I don't have to go to university or work today, which means I have a free day, but I need to work on a thesis that I have to write for university, and that is actually due next Thursday, and I only have one page or half a page. And then I also have an idea for another character that I want to draw and that I want to brainstorm today as well. I already have a rough idea or some brainstorms that are a little bit more detailed in my sketchbook, but I will show those to you once I start with the brainstorming process for today. I am very, very excited to be back on this channel. I missed recording and I missed talking and I missed talking about art to people. I am done with writing my thesis for today and I'm very happy about it. My goal was to write 3 pages and I wrote, I think, almost 3, and now I have 4 pages in my thesis, which is a relief. And tomorrow my goal is to write 1 more page. So I think I am very good in time to finish this off during this week. So yeah, I made myself something to eat now. And while I am going to eat, I will also try to find more references on Pinterest for this character because I have an idea of how this character is supposed to look, but with the puppet, I am still not very sure. And while I do that, I think I will explain to you in the voiceover what my plans are for this character, and then I will also jump into the warm-up session because I am also not warmed up yet. And also another thing that I started to do and implement into my daily life before drawing is that I will start by stretching my arms and hands because I noticed by getting older that you definitely should take care of your hands. So if you're watching this video and you are drawing, then maybe pause this video. I will leave you the link to this stretching routine in the description. It only takes you 7 minutes. Go stretch your hands and go take care of your hands because they are important for what you want to do. So take care of them. And I will start eating now because I'm very hungry. Whoop, whoop. So I am back. As mentioned, I really had to find a way to fix my workload issue. And with a new job, I had to figure out how to balance all the other things in my life without burning myself out. That was actually pretty difficult, which led me to take a break from YouTube as well. I really didn't want to do that because for real, I found so much fun with making all these videos and editing them, even though that takes up so much time. But after the first week, I realized that I indeed needed this break very, very much. Now I will slowly try to approach things differently and set one fixed date to edit my videos. And also my boyfriend is so kind to help me with these videos sometimes. So huge thanks to my boyfriend for also editing the video that you are watching and listening to right now. While you can watch a video of me drawing or draw with me, I will talk about some very important lessons that I learned within the last couple of weeks. I also mentioned a new routine that luckily works for me and that I luckily found. The first month with my new work was very hard for me, and it was very hard for me to be creative after work because all I wanted to do was to sit down and play video games or read something or just consume a video. As soon as I got home, I would sit down or lay down and relax, turn my brain off, consume something. By telling myself that I was just taking a break, I also allowed myself to be soaked up from things that I can hardly put down once I start doing them, like reading, for example. But once I realized that, I decided to fix that issue. The first thing that I do now when coming home from work is that I make myself a tea and just sit down. And let me tell you, this really changed a lot for me. I stopped consuming videos or playing games or scrolling through my phone during this 1 hour after work. It helps me a lot to just calm down and recharge my battery, which was the most difficult part. Also, fun fact, my boyfriend started to join me at this, but with a coffee instead of tea, and I don't get it because I personally don't like coffee, and I know this is a hot take. Sometimes we talk and other times we just sit quietly and enjoy each other's company. But after this hour of doing nothing, I find myself relaxed and ready to be creative or more productive than I would be if I would have consumed something instead. I also started to really enjoy those quiet moments again, where you can feel your body relaxing and you can hear your thoughts and you can feel every single breath you take and just notice your surroundings. I also noticed something that I find very disturbing. It is so difficult for most of us to walk through the day without consuming something at all times. Whether it is music, a podcast, a video, or shorts that you're scrolling through for hours without noticing how you literally waste your time. I took my phone with me when I wanted to take a nap because I was so tired, and instead of taking a nap, I ended up scrolling through Instagram for 1 whole hour. That is just a waste of time. And I rarely got inspired by someone else's art. Most of the time I was just watching funny shorts, you know. I think everyone can relate to that. I now deleted Instagram from my phone. If I want to look at art, then I can access Instagram from my computer or my iPad, which makes it harder to consume things all the time and everywhere. This also helped my creativity and my productivity. Also, it led to me being more aware of when to consume art and how I want to consume art instead of just opening up Instagram and scrolling mindlessly through everything that I see. Another thing that helped me with these two things was to get a new perspective on my art making and also YouTube. Over the years, I slowly slipped into a mindset where I was thinking, oh, I have to draw something today, or I have to record a video and get it done by Sunday. If you have deadlines you need to follow, then of course thinking like this is important. But for me, it was kind of different. I started viewing making art and wanting to improve as a job because I want to make a living off of this at one point. But the fact is that art is not work for me right now. It doesn't help me to make money, which means it isn't a job. I don't have deadlines, and there's no one who is telling me what I have to get done other than myself. But for some reason, I turned my I want to make art and draw and practice into I have to. I mean, I want to make a living off of this at some point, so of course I have to improve and work on my weaknesses. But that is because I want to do this. So I try to stop myself every time I felt the thought of having to draw creep up on me, and I turn it into, I want to draw today. And viewing it less like more work throughout the day on top of everything else, and more like a hobby or something that I love to do, actually helped me so much. It helped me to feel more relaxed and free and more in tune with myself, which also led me to wanting to draw more frequently and be more creative. Also, it helped me to allow myself to take a break from art for a day without feeling guilty about it. In my Building a Habits video, I also talked about to-do lists and how much they helped me. And this is a very important lesson that I learned. Throughout the last couple of weeks, I noticed that I used them in a very unhealthy way. Instead of just writing down what I had to get done, I wrote down every single aspect and planned every single hour and minute of my days. You could maybe say that I was a little bit too obsessed with to-do lists. Week 10 of The Artist's Way helped me to realize that this was a way to avoid being creative. I blocked myself. I remember so vividly how scared I was of the blank page. Thinking about not coming up with ideas felt so terrible, and instead of allowing myself to think about different things, I tried to avoid that situation. And so I decided to avoid that moment by planning everything thoroughly. Even my warm-ups. I planned how to warm up. I planned that I wanted to draw figures for 30 minutes, and then I would do this and that for 30 minutes every time, because when I didn't do that, I felt scared and I felt blocked. I tried to solve that blocked feeling by blocking myself with to-do lists. This also turned my wanting to draw and improve into a you have to get this done by then, which is very toxic. I just made myself another tea, which is amazing, and I'm done with my warm-up process, but oh my god, it didn't go as well as I hoped it would. Also, I noticed that I am very, very rusty when it comes to drawing hands, so I decided to practice them, but I also noticed that today I felt it was very hard for me to calm down. So I ended up drawing, I think, let me count, 10 hands in 15 minutes, which is quite fast. And then I also added 3 more hands, I think in 4 minutes or something. So yeah, it is quite fast and I need to slow down a little bit, but I hope that my sketchbook session will help me to do so. I decided to now brainstorm my character a little bit more in my sketchbook. I already did so the last couple of days and I will show you now. Also, I think I won't show the sketchbook on my channel at all. Probably. If I feel like it, then I will, but if not, then I won't make a tour of this, because this is a room for me to express myself and experiment a lot. And I don't want to interfere with that by keeping in mind that thousands of people could potentially click on this video and see all the art that I made and that I am not happy with, or, you know, I don't want to feel pressured to make something good looking. But so far, I just love the idea that I had of this character. Oh, I am so looking forward to draw her. I will do a quick sketch now of the vision that I have in mind right now, and then I will take reference photos so that I can finally start working on her and this character digitally. When I started working with The Artist's Way, I also tried not to work with these intense to-do lists, and let me tell you, I have never, ever in my life been as creative as I am right now, and it feels great. I am allowing myself to be confronted with thinking about my next idea instead of just avoiding that situation because I am afraid. And I mean, there are different ways you can do that. You don't have to sit in front of a blank page because, oh my god, that page is still very scary for me. But I know I will work on that throughout the time and it will get better and easier. Of course, I still write down what things I have or want to get done the next few days, but now I use these lists more for remembering and less for planning and avoiding moments where I have nothing to do. Because having nothing to do is actually very important for creativity. So I still think that to-do lists are very helpful if you use them in the right way. They can also help to break down a huge task that you have in front of you into smaller steps. For example, my portfolio project. This was something that was very huge. It was also something that threw me in this very, very dark hole because I overwork myself. But at the same time, breaking this huge project into smaller steps made it more doable, you know? But you have to work with to-do lists in the right way, which is not toxic for your mental health. Don't obsess over them like I did. And if you find yourself in a similar position, I know it sounds scary to think about your life without this level of organization. Trust me, I've been there, but I think you might be blocking yourself. This actually helped me to continue working on my portfolio. And if you follow me on Instagram, you may have already seen her, but if not, here's the final result. I am pretty proud of myself for the steps that I took and for improving so much, not only with my art and with my creativity, but with my mindset. This is so unbelievably good and I feel just great. I am done with taking the reference photos for my character. I already knew what kind of vibe I wanted them to have, and the first pose should be a pose of them standing and looking to the camera or facing the camera with their body so you can see the character design. And then I also have some ideas for the poses that I want to add as well, because I have a lot of poses in my mind for this character. I am very excited for it. And let me tell you, taking reference photos of yourself can be quite challenging in many different ways. It is quite difficult to find the right pose, but I always like to take a video and then just take screenshots of the poses that I like. And also it saves you time, because that way you don't have to spend hours on searching for the perfect reference photo. But it can also be quite tough to look at yourself in so many different weird angles and poses, and you just have to get used to that fact that you will definitely feel weird about yourself on those photos. That's also one of the reasons why I never share my reference photos. Very good news, it is now Saturday and 1 p.m. and I just finished writing my thesis about ChatGPT and whether it is racist or not. And I'm very, very excited that I'm finally done, because that also means that tomorrow, give me a second, I am finally allowed to read this book and I am so excited for it. I had to face a little bit of a challenge today while writing on that thesis because I wrote about every chapter that I wrote down. And the only thing left for me to write was my final conclusion, but I still had 3 pages left to fill, which is an insane amount of pages. So I had to figure out a new chapter as well, but I did that. It took me a little bit longer than I anticipated to take me today, but I am done. So because I am hungry, I thought I would get myself something nice to eat. So I ordered food that I have to pick up, and once I'm back home, I will warm up and then take new reference photos, because I tried to start with the character last time I recorded, but I wasn't really happy with the angle of the reference photos. I could have worked with those that I took, but I was tired and I didn't feel motivated at all to focus on drawing. So I took a break and I brainstormed a little bit more. I also finalized the character for the voodoo puppet. I think last time I was at work and I was waiting for more work because I had nothing to do. So that's what I will be doing today. I have a final design And now I will go get my food because I am very, very hungry right now. Yeah. I am done warming up now, and what I'm gonna do now is, because I already took my reference photos, I wanna start drawing the character, and I'm very, very excited for it. But now let's get into the Procreate project and start all over again. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the characters that you can see me draw here. First of all, I love them so much because of the story aspect. In the next video, I will add some more snippets of their lives, but I didn't manage to finish the whole sheet in time for this video, which I actually don't mind at all. I didn't plan to do this, you know. Usually, I try to spend around 4 hours on these smaller characters, sometimes longer and sometimes not, but this rendering took me almost 7 hours. I am also very glad that I tried to start the post the first time and then restarted it because I didn't feel her at all. But at the same time, I am proud that I started it, noticed that I didn't like it, and then instead of giving up, I started again. So, a little bit about the characters. In the past, I've watched a couple of documentaries about voodoo and the whole religion behind it. Voodoo is actually pretty far away from what people that never read more about it know. There is a dance ritual, or I think it is called dance, for me it looks like dancing, where more experienced people will try to invite gods into their body. I know this sounds very hard to grasp, but I would really recommend you to watch some documentaries on this because it is very interesting and inspiring. It is said that they can enter your body and then ride it until they leave it. And sometimes they will hurt the body, but you won't feel the pain. I had the idea that this girl who was far from experienced already tried to invite a god, but instead of this god finding its way into her body, it got trapped in this very, very poorly made doll. Initially, the girl brought the puppet as a gift to the god, but, well, not everything goes according to plan. For some reason, this very powerful and old god got trapped in that doll and couldn't leave it or use any of its powers. But because the god has to rely on the girl to get him out and back into his actual form, it promised her to help her get stronger. That is basically the whole backstory. They have this very specific dynamic where they snap at each other, but over time, they noticed that they started liking each other more and more and actually grow into becoming close friends. I wanted her to look a little bit younger, around 16 to 19, but I think she ended up looking older than that, which is also okay, I think. Also, I wanted to make her design feel more modern, so I added some elements of techwear. Again, I know you see these techwear designs a lot on my Instagram. I'm very sorry, but I love those kind of pants. And I promise I will draw different pants in the future. I struggled a lot with her shoes, but I think they look okayish now. And I know at some point I want to practice painting boots, but I am avoiding that because it's not so much fun for me. For some reason, I messed up her proportions in the initial sketch, so I really had to fix those while rendering. I don't know why, but I guess I just had a weird day. I also remember my warm-up session and how off my proportions felt that day. But that happens, and it is okay, because you learn, you improve, and on some days you just feel off. I would have never picked this neon green color for her top, but I had the idea of using the hue slide to change the colors and see different options. And boom, I saw that neon green and I knew I just had to go for it, and I love it. I'm so happy that I decided to go for it. I am a little bit sad that the doll isn't too obvious though, but I hope that will change with the poses added around this rendering. Even though the girl doesn't look fancy or very different, I love her design. She is supposed to be a regular human being that wears human clothes, even though they look kind of eccentric for what they are. But that makes her look very normal. I love the story and the dynamic between these two characters so much that she makes me excited to draw her. It's quite funny because this whole character started with the thought of me drawing a bold African woman in techwear clothes and a lot of accessories. I sketched something that I really liked and that I will show you on screen now, but it felt as if something was missing. Then I had the idea to maybe add a demon or something that accompanies her, and from that thought I ended up with a girl that accidentally trapped a god in her very poorly made doll and is stuck with him now. At first I was very hesitant of letting the idea of a bald head go, but once I allowed myself to step away from that, I came up with the space buns, and I am so happy with this idea now. I can always revisit the idea of a middle-aged woman with a bald head, you know. I can do everything I want to do when it comes to my art because it is my art and my world that I'm drawing and designing. I am very excited to see the finished sheet, but for now, this is what I managed to get done. You will see some of it in the next video, I think. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next week.